Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a recap on last night's games, and let me tell you, last night's games were fun as I thought they would be. Starting off with the Knicks. The Knicks, one of the worst offensive teams in the league, but one of the best defensive teams in the league, and hey, it's got them a 7-8 record. It's not typical, especially in today's NBA, that you see a team built this way. And that can have some amount of success this way. Usually a team that's this bad offensively just is bad. But RJ Barrett and Julius Randle have been enough bit of production here and there from guys like Emmanuel Quickley, Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, Mitch Robinson. They've had enough other things offensively and then a good defensive team. They've been able to muster some wins, and the Magic have now lost 6 in a row or 7 in a row since Markelle Fultz has been injured. The only offense on this team really has been Terrence Ross, Vucevic, and Aaron Gordon. And outside of that, they've really been struggling. They only put up 84 last night against the Knicks. The Knicks get themselves another win. I'm not going to touch too long on lots of these games here because there was lots of games last night, and so I want to spend a little bit more time on. With that being said, the Hawks beat Minnesota last night, and let's just say Minnesota just cannot win. They just can't. I know they don't have Karl-Anthony Towns right now, and obviously that's hurting. But even though D'Angelo Russell is good, given up what looks now to be a top, very high first-round pick this year, as well as Andrew Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell, is not looking as good as it initially did for Minnesota. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell had a very good game last night, but it wasn't enough to get over the hump. Andrew Wiggins is looking a lot better in Golden State. As far as the Hawks went, Clint Capella had another very good game with 15 boards and 23 points. Trae Young had a slightly better night last night, although his shooting's still struggling, but got to the free throw line a fair bit. Had 20 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds. And DeAndre Hunter's looking like a very good long-term piece on this team. He finished with 25 points last night, and we already know he's a good defender. So he's proven to be a very valuable wing piece for this team. Moving along, the Spurs beat the Portland Trailblazers quite comfortably. It's going to be interesting to see how this Portland Trailblazers team does without CJ McCollum, because he's arguably been their best player so far to start the season. Obviously, Damian Lillard is their best player, but based on form so far this season, CJ McCollum has been the guy. And so now Rodney Hood has come into the starting lineup. It pushes him up the depth chart a little bit more. It means that they're going to need some more good minutes from Anthony Simmons, Nazir Little, those types of guys. And then a bit more reliance as well, of course, on Carmelo and Gary Trent Jr. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But it was a good group effort from the Spurs last night. They had 4 guys with over 20 points. Rose with 20, Eldridge with 22, Patty Mills with 21, Aaron McKay with 21. And then Poeltl had 11 himself, Keldon Johnson had 10, and DeJounte Murray had 9, 11, and 9. It was a very good performance on many fronts for the Spurs. And the Spurs are quietly at an 8-6 record. Same record as the Trailblazers. And maybe that's just me, but that comes as a bit of a surprise to me. Moving along to the Phoenix Suns, losing to the Memphis Grizzlies. This Grizzlies team was playing well, surprisingly enough, without John Morant, and now they've won both their games since John Morant's been back from injury. This team is going to be exciting once Jaren Jackson Jr. comes back from injury within the next couple of weeks. It's still super unsure when that is going to be, but nonetheless, that is a promising sign for this team. Devin Booker got clamped last night, essentially. He only had 12 points. DeAndre Ayton had one of his better games in the season, and saying that, he had 18 points and 16 rebounds. But yeah, Devin Booker finished with 12 points. Dillon Brooks was all over him, and that was a big part in why the game ended the way it did. But to the first game that I really want to spend much time on, the Brooklyn Nets against the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis didn't silence anyone last night. It was KD. KD and Harden did their job. Middleton had a potential game-winning or game-tying. I'm not certain if it would have been a 2 or 3 or not. I'm not exactly sure where his feet were. But nonetheless, one of a game-tying or game-winning shot at the end of the game that went in and out. So it was a very close game, and it looked like this could very well be the Eastern Conference Finals within a couple, well, not a couple of months, I suppose, but when we get there, this very much looks like it could be the Eastern Conference Final. Jeff Green started for the Brooklyn Nets and had 14 points in 37 minutes, and I think now with Jarrett Allen gone, I think he's going to have a big role in this team, as well as Taurean Prince gone. He's his role is big. Him and Bruce Brown's role has both evolved and increased drastically. And I think it shows last night that their offense is not an issue, and the guys who are going to play as role minutes are going to be good defenders. Now, I know it's only one game, so maybe we can't read into it too much, but Landry Shaman only played 11 minutes, and Will Gabbard only played 9, but Bruce Brown played 22, and Jeff Green played 37, both of which who are much better defenders. And then Kevin Durant played 36, or DeAndre Jordan played 38, Harden played 41, and Joe Harris played 37. So the main 4 guys all played heavy minutes. But DeAndre Jordan at center still a bit of a question mark. He did play well last night, but there's still question marks there. There could be some small ball lineups with Jeff Green involved. But that remains to be seen. That being said, Durant and Harden combined for 64 on the night, and Joe Harris had 20 of his own. And they played very well. And the guys in the Bucks did the thing as well. Drew had 22, Middleton had 25, Antetokounmpo had 34. But nothing else needs to be said other than this. These 2 teams are extremely good. In my opinion, probably the best 2 teams in the East. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to see these 2 teams being the teams duking it out in the Eastern Conference Finals. Or if they end up not meeting in the Eastern Conference Finals doing the seeding, I believe these are the 2 teams that have the best chance to get out of the East. I believe Boston have a chance. I believe Philly have a chance. Indiana, dark horses, depending on health of Karis LeVert, although unlikely. But that was kind of my thoughts on that one. It was a very fun and entertaining game to watch. But moving right along to now on a 3-game win streak, Toronto Raptors have pulled the corner a little bit here now, down from 2-8 to 5-8 after beating Charlotte 2 nights in a row. And now beating the Dallas Mavericks last night, absolutely clamping Luka Doncic, holding him to 15 points. The combination of many defenders, but mainly OG Anunoby and Stanley Johnson being the 2 guys that were able to do the job on him. Porzingis had a fairly good game, and only his 3rd game still back from injury, so there'll be some more continued improvement from him. And the Raptors it was a good defensive game for the Raptors, and they were able to pull away in the second half, and it's as simple as that. Kyle Lowry had a very good game. Norm Powell had another good game off the bench. Aaron Baines, again, just kind of played his minutes in the first quarter when he got started, and then never saw the court after that. After that, it was Chris Boucher at the 5 and Siakam as a small ball 5 for parts of the game. And the bench did the thing. Boucher came in and had 21 points and 10 rebounds. He's been pretty much averaging that 20 and 10 stat line for the last 7 games now, which is absolutely nuts for a guy that most people outside of Raptors fans probably didn't even know about to start the season. Now has to be legitimately in a conversation for most improved player and 6th man of the year. And also in candidacy for one of the best value contracts in the league. And he has an amazing story. I hope there's some story or documentary that gets written about him, because from where he's come to where he is now, in basketball and in life, is absolutely astounding, and full credit to him. Norman Powell also had 17 points on the night, finally getting back in a good rhythm. OG contributing as well. Obviously his defensive effort's always there, but getting 13 points and 11 rebounds alongside it. Outside of that, Heat beat the Pistons. Don't really care about that game too much. The Heat are still missing a few players, and the Pistons are the Pistons. It's not that good. Sorry, Pistons fans, but the only thing I want to say about that is I really hope Blake Griffin can start playing better, man. This is tough. Like, Blake Griffin's been such a good player for so long, so dominant, such a fun player to watch, and now he's just a spot-up shooter who just really isn't doing much anymore. It's really sad. I'm just kind of hoping we're going to get to see some more of Blake Griffin still, but I hope this isn't the end. I'm not going to say it's the end, but it's a bit sad to see, and I hope for Pistons fans and NBA fans that he can get his game back together post-injury, but age and injuries might be catching up to him, unfortunately. And then the Bulls were able to outscore the Rockets last night. Neither teams are great defensive teams, and Zach LaVine dropped 33. Every other starter, as well as Denzel Valentine and Thaddeus Young, had double digits, and that was enough to overcome the Rockets. With that being said, Christian Wood had another really good game at 30 points and 9 rebounds, and Oladipo looked very good in his debut with 32 points and 9 assists. Turnover numbers were a little bit high, but he was kind of playing point guard last night. Hasn't played point guard in a long time. That will change once John Wall's back in the lineup, so that's not a massive concern to me. New system, hardly would have practiced with the team yet. First time ever playing point guard. Everything else looked really good from him. And if they can keep him past this season, I really like that move for the Rockets long term. And then to the night game of the night, Steph Curry. Remember when everyone was counting this team out? Remember when everyone was saying they were bad after like 2 games? Yeah, that bad team is now 7-6, and they've now had 19 and 23-point comebacks against the Clippers and Lakers. So, are they an NBA championship contender? No. Klay Thompson's injured. Obviously not. Are they a bad team? Hell no. They're definitely not a bad team. And anyone who still thinks they're a bad team needs to get a reality check. I don't know if anyone still does, but let's just say that the people that overreacted 2 or 3 games in were just doing it to get a click, because we know that this team isn't actually that bad. No team led with Steph Curry that actually has other talent around the roster is good. And I think people massively overestimated how much of an effect Draymond Green has on this team. Because Draymond Green doesn't average 18, 20 points a night, but Draymond Green doesn't need to average 18, 20 points a night to be an all-star and have an all-star impact on this team. He just does all the small things. It's the hustle plays, it's the leadership, it's the communication, it's the rebounding, it's the playmaking, it's the smart court awareness and court decisions. His knowledge of the game of basketball and his basketball IQ is as high as anyone who's ever played the game. It's undeniable. His knowledge of the game and awareness of the game is insane. It's so fascinating to listen to his thoughts on the game of basketball. And so, I mean, there he is, right? I mean, he got 7 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds last night while playing good defense. And is he prime Draymond Green? No. Is he a massive impact in this team? Yes, definitely. Along with that, Andrew Wiggins had a good game with 18 points. Kelly Oubre is starting to shoot the ball a little bit better and had 23 points last night. And they had 19 off the bench in 19 minutes from Eric Pascal. And they were able to surmount a 13-point fourth quarter victory and ended up winning the game by 2, with the Lakers not able to make their final shot to win it. Dennis Schroeder led the Lakers in scoring last night. Neither LeBron or AD did anything massive on offensively. Neither of them cracked the 20-point mark, but AD did have 17 rebounds and 7 assists. It was a good performance from him on that front. They didn't have enough to overcome a Stephen Curry-led Golden State Warriors. And like I said, this is not a Warriors team that is going to challenge for the title. There's no way I'm saying that. This team is not good enough. With Klay Thompson, you could make the argument. I still don't think they would be, but you could make the argument that they would be up there. They would probably be just a layer behind the Lakers. They might be as good as the Clippers, but I don't think I'd have them with the Lakers. But with that being said, this team's still a playoff team in my opinion. This is a team that's probably anywhere from the 6 to 9 range. They might have to go into the play-in games, but this is the playoff team, no doubt in my mind. But that is my thoughts on last night's slate of games. We got a bit of a pretty quiet night up ahead as far as games go. We only have the Thunder and the Nuggets and the Pelicans and the Jazz. So unless something super exciting goes on in those games, then we might have a bit of a different video tomorrow. Yeah, with that being said, if you guys did enjoy the content and you guys did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. All my links are down below to my other socials if you guys do want to join. And I will see you guys in the next one.